That was a look back at two field dedications that took place at Cleveland Central Catholic High School and Rhodes High School earlier this year. Matt, when you look back at this season and the games we covered through the Game of the Week program, I really don't think you could have asked for a better slate of matchups throughout the season.
Oh, without a doubt, Matt. There were some great matchups all throughout the year from Week 1 to Week 10. It was really nice to see the diversity of teams that we were able to cover, from the big schools in Division I with the Menor St. Ed's game in the first game of the year, all the way down to the small schools like your Chagrin Fallses and your Perrys. It was great to see the amount of talent that's in Northeast Ohio, as well as the amount of support that each school generates.
Well, it certainly was a lot of fun to be out at these schools, so let's take a look at the highlights. Well, you couldn't have picked a better game to start off the season as Menor and St. Ed's met at Cleveland Brown Stadium in a game that came down to the wire.
These are two physical teams, Division I, Region I competitors, and we saw that the St. Edward Eagles were able to use their physicality early and wear down the Menor Cardinals.
Led by Game of the Week MVP Kevin Burke, this was an exciting game, much like we'll probably see in the first week of the playoffs. So something to look forward to, maybe a preview of things to come. Week 2, we traveled out to Lorain County as North Ridgeville hosted the Rangers from Lakewood. Led by Game of the Week MVP Mark Silikowski, North Ridgeville looked tough early in the season.
North Ridgeville coming off their first playoff appearance in school history. They lost some guys to graduation, but still came out tough and started the year off really well. Came up about a win or two short of getting back to the postseason this year, but still had a good run in them and a nice effort by the North Ridgeville Rangers.
Absolutely. It was a fun game to watch, high-scoring affair. High-scoring matchup continued in Week 3 when Independence traveled to Lutheran West for a non-conference shootout that saw the Blue Devils light up the scoreboard.
The Longhorns did a good job to compete with the Blue Devils. It was a tough road to hoe for them. They had struggled to that point through several losses on their record. They went 0-10 last season, came out of the gate. They looked like they might be able to get over the hump. However, a late surge by the Blue Devils gave Independence the win on the road over a very feisty Lutheran West team.
Week 4 brought us our first rain game of the season as Perry hosted Orange in a Thursday night matchup, but not even Mother Nature could keep the Pirates out of the end zone. This was a back-and-forth battle. In the end, Pirates come out on top.
And they faced a tough Orange squad that started off the year really well. It really dominated Beechwood earlier in the year, but when it came to stopping the run tonight against the Perry Pirates, they were unable to do so. Perry just really did a great job to control the tempo of the game despite the elements and put the ball in the end zone enough to get the W.
Week 5, we saw the 2009 Division II state runner-up Maple Heights Mustangs flex their muscle as they met Shaker Heights and really showed what they're all about.
It was a nice return to the game for Shaq Washington after going down with an injury. He came out, played a little bit, showed that he had rehabbed properly and that his knee was getting back to normal, and he was going to be able to lead his Mustangs again to the postseason. Good to see the young man back, and it was a good debut for him against the Shaker Heights Red Raiders.
Matt, in Week 6, we had a chance to see the high-powered offense of Rocky River, a team that really showed more than offense. They scored all sorts of ways in this game against Midview.
Yeah, and it was their homecoming game, so you knew they were going to come out ready to go. They didn't let the emotions of the weekend get to them. They had a focused game plan. They came out, they executed their assignments. They played well offensively, defensively, and on special teams. Were able to put the ball into the end zone and got over the hump against the Midview Middies.
Great game as we see here. MVP Zach Eccles on one of his 4 touchdowns of the night. Week 7, somewhat of a unique circumstance. We were out at Nordonia High School. Browns linebacker Jason Trusnick, a graduate of Nordonia, was able to come out, see his team play as they took on the Medina Bees in the Week 7 matchup.
It was nice to see Jason go and visit with the program that he came from. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to help motivate the Knights enough as Medina just had too much firepower offensively, played well defensively, and got away with a W in this contest on the road. A very tough place to play, Nordonia, with a new stadium this year. Unfortunately, against Medina, they weren't able to get the W.
Moving right along, Week 8, rivalry matchup, West Geauga, Chagrin Falls, and what was supposed to be a game of the ages turned out that only one team came to play. Chagrin Falls looked tough.
Yeah, and Chagrin Falls, very physical team. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They were able to get the running game going early, and that really helped them to get the win over West G. Neither one of these teams really cares for the other. It was a good matchup going in. Unfortunately for the West Geauga Wolverines, they just ran into a buzzsaw, and those seniors for Chagrin Falls came out with the win.
In a game that did live up to the hype, Amherst and Olmsted Falls met in Week 9. Wow, playoff implications on the line. You couldn't have asked for a better matchup.
And both teams really needed a W to stay in the hunt for a playoff berth. Olmsted Falls was able to control the emotions of the day. They did not let a score early by the Amherst Comets get them down. They fought through some adversity in this game and throughout the season and ended up coming out with the home victory. Good win for the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs and one that kept them in the playoff hunt.
Week 10, there may not have been playoff implications on the line, but boy, when you talk about pride, Beechwood and Hawken put on a show, and this was a lot of fun to watch.
And it just shows you what football is all about. Even though neither team had a playoff berth on the line, Hawken came out, had a late touchdown, ended up trying to go for two, trying to go for the win instead of going for the tie. That shows you what this rivalry really meant to both programs, and it was nice to see both teams go out with such a passionate football game.
When we come back, we'll catch up with some of our panel members to get their thoughts on playoff football.